Good afternoon, Astoria Elementary Kindergarten class. Now, your teacher, Mr. Kimble, is out today, but I'm going to be taking his place for now. I'm Ethan Alter from Yahoo Entertainment, and we're here talking about your memories of being in kindergarten with Mr. Kimble. So I'm going to take roll call, and when I call your name, just repeat it back and say who you played in the 1990 classic Kindergarten Cop, which celebrates its 30th anniversary today, December 21st. All right, first up, Christian Cousins.
How's it going? One half of the enterprise that made the character Dominic for the movie. So,
Miko Hughes.
Hey, Miko Hughes. My dad's a gynecologist and he looks at vaginas all day long. Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
I forgot to mention my dad's a drug dealer and very dangerous, and my grandma's even worse. So,
makes sense.
Crystal and Tiffany Mataris.
Hi, I'm Tiffany. No, actually, I'm Rena, and I'm Tina. She's Tina. Crystal, Tiffany. And our mom says that our dad is a real sex machine.
Brian Wagner.
Brian Wagner, William, better known as the only person to ever get away with spitting out food on Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That was hilarious.
Stop eating other people's lunches, Brian.
Oh, that was so fun.
Where's my Cheetos?
Yeah, right? Let's just say that.
And last
So they could have had some.
Adam Wiley.
Hi, Adam Wiley, and I played Larry, and I'm here to tell you that Mr. Kimble is in fact all right.
That's good.
He is.
Thanks for the update.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. It's good.
Awesome.
The bullet didn't even penetrate any vital organs. It's fine.
No one has any ferrets? No ferrets are going to zoom bomb?
You know there were 9 ferrets?
9. Oh my gosh. No, I had no
9,
idea.
because
Wow.
each one had a distinctive talent. They're very easy to train, but they get overwhelmed. So depending on what they had to do per scene, there was a different one. So if you look very closely in the movie, not like anybody really needs to, but you can notice, depending on the scene with a ferret, that, you know, little subtleties like they're coloring around their eyes, a little bit around their ears, it all changes. So it's like the subtleties between, like, you know, Huskies and German Shepherds.
Well, great. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today, guys, on the 30th anniversary. Christian, tell me about your audition story to play Dominic. What was it like getting that role? It's a major part in the movie.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, it was interesting, actually. Got hired on the first interview with my brother. They knew that there was going to be a lot of limitations because of how many kids were involved in the movie, and because of child labor rights and whatnot. You can only work so many hours, and we were a younger crowd, that in order to get filming done in anything less than eons for the screen time that was required for the Dominic character, they were likely going to need twins, much like happens a lot in a lot of other franchises and things. And they had seen some previous work we'd done, met with Ivan Reitman and Arnold right off the bat, and got it. But then when they did a bunch of major interviews with a lot of kids, they still invited us to go to each one, because they were also seeing how we all interact together, interestingly enough, which is, you know, I think at the end of the day, we all became, you know, a family. You know, they were like, okay, you got the part, but, and then it was really bizarre because there must have been a lot of Hollywood talk about it. Like, I didn't even know the significance of the role when I got it at all. And I remember distinctively a kid that I had seen in audition rooms on a number of different times in LA at that age, literally stands up in the middle of it and interrupts, like, Ivan and Arnold from talking and whatnot, and says, "Has the role of Dominic already been cast?" Like, that was a thing, you know? I'm like,
Wow.
How does this guy know what my character's part is, and why does he care? You know, it's like, I'm like going, okay, dealing with stage moms. All right, great. Wonderful. And he couldn't look more different than me. So it was a little bizarre. But otherwise, it was a great experience. Just, I think I started making friends from the first interview, and it just avalanched from there.
Crystal and Tiffany, tell me about your first time meeting Arnold on set. What was that like, just seeing him for the first time?
Oh, very much so like what you see in the kindergarten class.
Yeah.
We were just like looking up. We were we weren't that intimidated because we actually met him inside of the auditioning room with like 30 other kids.
Yeah.
Originally they actually called us up, our agent, and told us, we want to see the twins, us, for Dominic's role, because at that time they had not decided if they wanted boys or girls. That lasted for maybe an hour, and then our agent called us back, said, you know what, cancel that. They made up their mind that they want twin boys. So they said now they might want two girls in the class. So we had to audition, but when we auditioned, you know, they did a nationwide casting call, even in the schools. It was for schools too. And so we arrived there and we were with like 30 other kids at the time, more lined up. And so when we met Arnold, it was maybe like the third callback, I think. Yeah. So we were in a group with 30 kids, and so it was just
we were in awe, but at the same time, you're a kid, you're in working mode. So we were just kind of once we got on set, we're like, wow, we made it. Yeah. So it was really thrilling.
It was really fun.
Again, I'm sure everybody here, the auditioning process, when our agent called us up, she said, congratulations, out of 30,000 kids, you made the cut. And so we were like, yay. Yeah. So it was thrilling.
Kristen, you seem surprised there, or had you heard that they were thinking of maybe casting twin girls instead of twin boys for Dominic first?
At first, that was what we were told, and you know, we could be discussing literally the exact same interview. Like literally, they might have made that decision behind closed doors in 10 minutes. I have no idea, and I don't know if it was something to do with Arnold's preference, how he wanted to deal with the part, how Ivan decided it would be easier to cast if it had dynamics with Penelope Ann Miller, who played my mom. It made more sense to have a young son than it did to have a daughter. I don't know. I don't have any clue what the philosophy is behind that. I mean, I think I've spoken to the script director twice in my whole life, so or the script writer. So I don't know what influenced it. It could have been a coin toss. I have no clue. So, you know. But I did know going into it that girls, you were on an episode of X-Files, weren't you?
We were not.
No,
we actually
made it to network.
Yeah, we made it to network for that. We were supposed to be on it, but they decided to go with twins that already were in Canada. They didn't want to pay the per diem and the amount of money, but we had to bust our butt. We had to cry on cue like 10 times.
My brother and I auditioned for that same thing because they had the same issue. They didn't know if they wanted boys or girls. And then immediately after the interview, they're like, you know what? We're going with girls for this role. So it's like,
that's been the case our whole career.
You got further than me on that one. Definitely did.
Well, that's good. Our whole career, it's been like that. Just about all of the parts that we've ever gotten in all of our movies
were originally written for boys.
For boys,
we just had to duke it out with the boys, the girls, and the triplets.
We had to beat out boys and triplets.
It's nothing new to us.
We were competitive though. If there was a twins role, we were gonna get it. We just we were that type.
What an insult from casting though, to be like, oh, thanks for the audition, but we just now decided we want to just completely do the other gender because
seriously,
totally.
Huh?
You know, actually, fun fact.
It feels great leaving an auditioning room and be like, you know, we totally want nothing to do with your gender.
Got to redo this entirely.
Yeah, we're going back to the drawing board on this one.
Right, starting over. Well,
you know what's really? Oh, go ahead.
No, please go for it.
What's really interesting about the audition process is actually I went in 3 times for Dominic before they decided they wanted twins. Before they were like, you know what, with the child labor laws, we're gonna need twins. So when I went in for Dominic, and then my mom gave me the news and was like, so you didn't get Dominic, but they offered you another role, and I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, because of course the ginger that looks exactly like the person who played my mom. It's the 2 blonde-haired kids that look nothing like anyone else in the family, right? Okay, like just flat out adopted.
Wait, it could have been your dad.
Ann Miller was a blonde.
Maybe it was your grandma. Nope.
Nope.
She was a blonde.
Yeah.
Miko, for you, we got a taste of what your dad does for a living. Did you audition with that line?
I think there had to be a better way of wording that. Okay.
Yeah. That's a good question. I from what I understand, I believe I was the youngest of the kids in the classroom. So
Yes,
I
you
honestly
were.
probably remember the least of the filming process.
You were 30. Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember the audition, but I do know my mom said they wanted to use me for something, but they didn't know what. And it was kind of on the fly that they came up with the boys have a penis, girls have a vagina line, just to give me something. And she really thought about it for a really long time. If it was a good idea, like, how is this going to play off? You know, is this going to affect me later? And she thought, you know, it's innocent, it's cute. Why not? Like, it'll be memorable. And yeah, I'm glad she went for it.
So
I mean, I don't think it affected your
word,
career, man.
The word
You,
vagina after doing Pet Cemetery was a stretch. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Murder is fine, but
Murder's
yeah,
good. Yeah.
okay.
And then more murder
Zombie,
with Freddy
zombie
Krueger,
kid,
so there you
right
go.
up there. You know, vagina. Don't know.
Yeah, that's like
you have to say it a few
American.
times in the movie. Were you aware of what you were saying? Do you remember having to say it more than once, or did Ivan Reitman just get you doing it once and that was it?
Yeah, I think I just knew it was something that was kind of adult to say, that was funny, that made adults laugh. I maybe had some vague concept of it, but it was pretty benign. I don't think I thought that much of it, you know. So
And Brian,
I got to tell you, when we watched the post dailies, they had to do so much cutting afterwards from laughter from literally the whole crew, because half the time it wasn't even scripted, and the other half they had us saying some really funny stuff. So, you know, there was a lot of dubbing to do after that.
Except for me. I'm the only one who said one word. Ooh-cuts. That's it. That's all I said the entire time.
You said stranger. You said stranger at the end.
I did. Yeah, that was supposed to be the big breakout moment of, oh my gosh, he knows real words.
Yeah,
Well,
people remember
I'm sure
that.
we'll get into
People
that.
remember that. Yeah.
They do, but
They do.
I actually remember on social media I did a whole story about why that's supposed to be so significant, because there were alternate storylines that were cut out. So my storyline was supposed to be that Mr. Kimble thinks that I'm Dominic, and that I'm the one that needs to be protected. And I was so traumatized by my father that all I say is ooh-cuts the entire movie. And I even have a jacket with ooh-cuts written on the back. And so that's why at the end, when I finally see him and say stranger, it's like this big aha moment, which makes sense for the Mr. Kimble, are you all right? And then he's supposed to respond to me, ooh-cuts. But that, of course, all wouldn't have made sense, because they went with an alternate storyline, which is totally cool. You know, it is
right. Yeah, it winds up being the Sylvester storyline, right?
Exactly,
right,
winds up being the Sylvester storyline. Yeah, wow. Which I think actually served the movie way better, in my opinion.
Right. So, did you actually film any of that stuff, or was it like, does it exist?
Filmed all of it.
Oh wow!
Filmed all of it. We filmed the entire. In fact, I believe there's alternate endings as well, where Mr. Kimble dies.
Really? Oh wow! Okay, we have to hear this. All right, what's the memory of him dying?
I don't remember if the kids were actually used for that ending, but there were definitely alternate endings.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and there was a lot of choices between what to go with, and it ended up what it is at the end now. So, which I think that was the right choice.
What does happen? Honestly, I don't think I've seen it.
Nico, you're like me. I haven't seen the movie since the screening, so I'm kind of.
I love it.
He lives.
He comes back. He lives.
Yeah, okay.
He comes back.
He comes back with
like
a cane.
Good flick.
Well,
I need to check it out.
It's a good movie. You should
snippets,
watch it. You're really good in your stuff, Miko. You should watch the things you're in.
I can't stand watching myself. Maybe that's why. Maybe I just avoid it.
Well, I was blessed to have elementary school, junior high, and high school teachers who all thought they'd reinvented the wheel by, on the last day of school, all showing it in class. But because classes were like an hour to an hour and a half, I pretty much had to watch the movie in every class, just for the same first hour to hour and a half for like 13 years.
I'm sorry.
And they all thought they were brilliant when they came up with that idea. They're like, this is a VHS tape. We're going to watch this, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just going, face
If
palm.
they were smart, they would have timed it so you could pick up where you left off in the next class.
Well, none of the kids went from class to class to class. They all spread out. So
Yeah,
you know, it was a treat for whoever was in. But I always thought it was weird, because I'm like, why aren't we watching like Christmas Vacation or something? It's like, why? Well, you know, like, why? Everyone in this class has seen the movie. They pretty much had at that point. So I was like, okay, but you know, it was water torture, but you know.
Maybe when they say the full in Christmas Vacation, that might be the deal breaker.
Right.
Penis vagina is
But
okay.
penis and vagina, yeah, actually, yeah, absolutely.
That's
Totally
anatomy.
cool
That's
still.
educational.
You got to
That's
draw the
anatomy.
line somewhere. You got to draw the line somewhere.
I usually do it on paper. It works.
Brian, to ask you, as you said, you were bodily lifted up by Arnold and spit food all over him. What do you remember about being lifted up by this huge guy and sort of shaken around?
I remember we did it 17 times. The first time, the script was written so that Arnold would set me down. The first time it happened to him, he was so disgusted, he just dropped me. And we're on a soundstage in Los Angeles, so I'm not hitting concrete floor. I'm hitting floor that's built on top of a floor. So there's a little bit of give there. And you know, Arnold's not as tall as he's made out to be. And
taller.
Yeah, his face was on a shovel for our. I remember, and I'm the only kid who does this. I don't know why. Anyway,
that's a true story. And so I was I want to say, if not one, definitely one of the older kids, if not the oldest kid on set. And I was a pretty big kid, even taller than most of the kids in the class. And being dropped onto, soundstage floor that's carpeted, there was no issue there. I actually, from what Christian was saying about watching dailies, I remember distinctly going back and watching that scene with Ivan and the crew, and the very first take, I had spit out the Cheetos, and Arnold drops me. He walks away, camera pans down, and I was 7 years old. I still didn't know, what I was doing. I picked up the Cheetos from the ground and put them back in the
Can I ask you a real question, Brian?
Yeah.
After 17 takes, you hadn't had enough Cheetos? All right.
Well,
Yeah. Have you
that was
eaten
the first.
Cheetos?
Who's in character?
Have you eaten Cheetos since?
Honestly, I've maybe had the original Cheeto maybe 3 or 4 times in my life.
See, not shocked. Not shocked at all. That's why I won't eat Gushers.
Yeah.
Cheeto PTSD.
That's your story.
Oh my God. Way to go, Brian.
That's amazing. Tiffany and Crystal, you mentioned earlier that your dad liked your line in particular. Our mom
They
had
had
real sex machine.
Originally we were supposed to say something very generic, very boring, and we were literally on the set in front of the cameras.
And I went blank.
Yeah,
I forgot my line.
Then the writer wrote that line on set, and then he had to rush our parents on set to get approval in order for us to say the line. And when they asked our dad, we saw him in front of us. He was like, "Yes, yes, yes, say that." Say
Our
that.
mom was like, but our dad was like,
he was so happy.
it
Oh
made
my
him the
God.
happiest man on earth.
Yeah, it's the
to have to say
happiest
that
we've
line.
ever seen him.
Yeah.
Too
since
bad
we
they
got
didn't
the
have Tinder back then,
He's very
Yeah.
proud. Nowadays, slow down a little bit, so it's not as much true, but he was really happy.
Wow, called out.
Might
Your
want to
dad
save
is
that for
now
Cape
not
Cod
as
after
happy.
dark.
Yeah. K-Cap reunion after dark. See us there.
You would kind of hope that's the case, though. What if your dad was like, just new friends, like, hey, check out this clip today, like modern, just so you know.
He's finding people who've never seen the movie before, so he can have
Yeah.
true witnesses.
all over Greece, because he's from Greece. So all over Greece. Oh yeah, that's his legacy right there.
Nice.
Perfect.
Were you aware of what you were saying? I mean, like what the line meant? Did they have to explain it to you, or you just sort of repeated it, and that's what we see?
We just repeated it.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
It wasn't,
we had a sort of a shallow understanding of what it was.
There was so
but-
much going on. We were in front of the cameras, so we were reflective, and it didn't really penetrate us.
Yeah, like we said, it was last minute, so we didn't really have time to think about it too much.
Yeah.
Not like
We
your dad
enjoyed it.
penetrated your mom. Oh!
Oh, I set
Damn.
myself up for that one.
That was too easy.
Uh,
You set that up.
When
Nico
there's an
drops
open
the
door,
mic.
you gotta walk through. You gotta walk through.
So for the big scene where you're all going crazy, and when Arnold loses it that first time and yells, "Shut up!" Were you genuinely scared? Like, was he yelling at you in that moment as you were?
I don't even think he was on set during that moment. because we had to do it from everybody's point of view, so it was mostly 2 shots, 3 shots in singles. So I remember I was supposed to cry and be the first one crying, because that was my specialty, was crying on cue. And I got hired a lot as a kid for it. And I remembered, for some reason, I was like, I should cover my face. And I remember getting like everyone going, Adam, don't cover your face. Adam, don't cover your face. And the only good shot they have of that is me covering my face. But I was supposed to be penning the chalkboard, and it was a 2-shot. So there were so many different shut-ups. I think we did it like 20-ish times because of all the setups, that for me, I don't know about you guys, it was just like, all right, we're going to do a scene now. It was just normal.
Yeah, I think I remember him saying shut up, but we were also spread out in the room in different places. So some of us couldn't even see him when he said it.
But yeah, after that was a long day too.
Yeah, and afterwards they did private cuts of him just saying shut up. But there was...
It was quite the expression, though, wasn't it? I mean, it was that Total Recall face, like you think it's
Shut
going to
up!
blow up. And it's a legitimate question, because it would scare the crap out of most 6-year-olds, I would think, So, but.
The only time I was scared of Arnold, or I got a little intimidated, was there was a time when we were supposed to, the whole room was supposed to be going crazy. It's actually in the same scene. The whole room is going crazy. They're acting a fool. And me and my sister were supposed to be lifting our skirts. And we had these little shorts that wardrobe put under us. So we were lifting our skirts. In between takes, we would joke around with the boys and we would go, woo, and lift our skirts.
We didn't know what we were doing.
Arnold did not he looked at me and he said, and I was just like, I stopped.
After that, we never lifted our skirts again.
And into adulthood.
It stayed with us.
Do you guys remember Arnold lifting? Do you guys remember Arnold lifting all of us up on his arms? Do you guys remember that? Like holding onto his arms and just going, and he lifted every single kid.
Do you have that picture? Does anybody have that picture?
My mom probably does. She has a gazillion pictures, because my mom played my mom. She was the only one, because for some reason the actor who's supposed to play my mom couldn't do it anymore. Oh. And so they scrambled, and they were just like, it's like 2 lines. Can you do it? She was like, no. But she did it. So
that would have been cool if your mom came.
Cool memory.
Yeah, right. Should have had moms included. Absolutely.
She's holding the camera.
She doesn't tech anything. No tech. I have to like do all of the things for her.
Our parents are like right in the living room.
Oh. Your dad's listening. Like, are you talking about my line?
Be sure to tell him.
No. Yeah, I got like 15 people behind this wall right now laughing like their butts off right now.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
no,
no.
not at all.
Christian, you get to take part in the action at the end with the shootout in the bathroom and everything. How much of that were you actually on set for? And I'm still amazed that they let like Arnold get shot in front of a kid. What do you remember about how that scene came together?
Well, that sequence took actually a long time to film for a couple of different reasons. First reason, it had to, because of continuity reasons, like, he gets shot once, but then he's still around, and then they're going back and forth, and then crazy grandma gets involved, and then Penelope Ann Miller comes in, but and all this and that. The thing is that, and then I get dirtier and sweatier and more wet from the whole situation, because we're in the shower where it's like steamy and this and that. But it almost had to, for unlike almost any film, had to be filmed almost in sequence. And they had to make sure everything was working out right, because, they kind of got tired of putting new tiles up in the shower scene if they didn't like the cut, and they had already, blown it out from the gunshots and this and that. And I only have like 2 really interesting memories about it. One was, I remember having to act like more scared than I'd ever been on camera thus far in my career, and which wasn't that hard, because even though, well, it was actually a little difficult, because despite how evil it seems my dad is, which is Richard Tyson, he's like the nicest guy in the world in person. He is like a sweetheart. He's a sweetheart. Like, it was really hard to act scared from somebody who was like, like after every scene, oh, good job, that was awesome, you did great. And I'm like going, okay.
Yeah, Richard Tyson wanted to be everybody's best friend, and literally every single kid he would interact with and their parents. I don't think there's a parent amongst our group of all the 26 kids that didn't absolutely fall in love with Richard Tyson. Because
my mom would have left my dad instantly. I think she definitely wanted to.
No, seriously, like one of the biggest things I'm asked was, were you scared of your dad while filming the whole movie? And I'm going, absolutely not. And so, to switch back and forth from, oh, this is the nicest guy, to I've got to be terrified of him, was a little interesting. I do remember my ears hurting for like a week, because when we were shooting that in that locker room setting and the fake gunfire's going off, I mean, boom, just like echoing like crazy. But as far as filming the whole scene, it was it did take a while to do, but it wasn't all that challenging, but it was interesting. It was interesting. I had come across the one scene where I'm hiding behind a locker and I'm like breathing really hard. Somebody had done like a thing on YouTube like 10 years ago where they do a side-by-side between me and Bruce Willis from Die Hard, and they're like going, watch a 6-year-old do a better job of acting out of breath than Bruce Willis. And it was hysterical because it was dead set. We had the same expression. We were both looking the same opposite directions, like there was a mirror right in front of us. And you're right, he just phoned the thing in. So, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, Bruce.
Oh, that Bruce, yes.
How about the backpack scene on the light pole or telecom?
Okay, so little piece of trivia there. There were 2 towers. One that existed that was in Los Angeles, close to Long Beach Harbor or port. And then there was a smaller version that we had built. And the smaller version had if you're facing the ladder, it was on the left-hand side. You can see there's a slight slit through it, and that's where the zip cord was attached to my backpack that had a whole harness underneath me. And I literally they did drop me like 15-20 times, like 20 feet on that thing, and it was like a ride. That it got hard to keep the intensity of the scene because it was a lot of fun. I'm supposed to all of a sudden just go, and then at first I was scared, and then the second time I was like, I can get used to this. By like take 10, where they got the birds to do what they want, the pigeons had to fly off and this and everything. By the end of it, I'm like practically like, wee, I want an annual pass. So, it was fun. But it was about maybe a 30-foot high section where they had to do the close-ups of Arnold having me put my arms around. And despite trying to be a somewhat intelligent 6-year-old, thinking that kitchen tinfoil are lasers. Yeah. So, that's going to go down in history with like drinking Clorox to solve COVID. So is using tinfoil as lasers. So, yeah.
I still do that. That's not real? Confused.
Still not recommended.
I've bought a lot of tinfoil.
Oh. So you're the house that gets 14,000 channels. Okay.
I'm the house that the aliens can't read.
That's where tinfoil hat came from. You started it.
I did.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, no
We
one knows
solved
that.
it. We know.
Thank you.
You
Thank
started.
so much.
Take credit for it. Just don't
Yeah.
tell anybody. Take
Yeah.
credit.
I will. I won't tell anybody.
And if you need to stream anything, ask him first. It's free.
Right.
He's so off the grid, you can't track the original source. That's why nobody knows it was him.
Truth.
Yep, that's right.
Truth.
When the rest of you guys got to see some of the things that Dominic did, and Christian did in the movie, were you jealous? Did you want more action for yourself, or were you okay with that? Were you happy with your moments?
I think that as 6-year-olds, we just wanted to play. I mean, to be honest, everyone was just like, can we go play now? Because there was we really had our school on the set. There was 4 or 5 school teachers, so it was like kindergarten. I remember going in there and playing with clay, and there was a huge outdoor jungle gym, and
they put those foam puzzle pieces down, so if we fell, nobody got hurt, and it was a whole thing. Yeah,
it was like recess all day. It was fantastic.
We'd do our 3 hours of school. We'd play as much as we could with each other, and then when they said, "Okay, it's time to get on set," we're like, "Oh."
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of
Because
exactly how
they
it
built
was, so.
Disneyland for us just to keep us all quiet, So,
We're happy though when Chris and Joe were working because
I
they
have
had
something.
the most ginormous display of micro machines. So we got to play with them while they were working. So we were all excited
We would
because
steal
we
their
got
toys
to,
when they were working.
yes.
We did.
So I hate to tell you, but that's what happened.
But I mean, we actually feel bad for Chris because we get a call sheet and we would see how, the times that everybody was going to be called on set. And Chris and Joe were like on set for a really long time.
early in the
I
morning.
mean, and
too,
then late into the night.
yeah,
So I was not jealous.
We'd have to be on call because the thing is here, and this is what I don't understand about kids working at a younger age, is if you're only allowed 4 hours of set time, they can still ask you to be there for 8 hours. You can only just be on camera or on set for 4 hours. Now you add twins to that. The next thing you know is you're supposed to be there at 4:30 in the morning and you don't get home till 1 o'clock at night. That's exhausting. That's exhausting. So that was one of the difficult aspects of, and there'd be times where they'd say, hey, you know what, we're set up, we can film this one shot that's like 13 pages later, and we still got 2 hours left out of Joseph, so let's rock and roll, and so even though he isn't tired yet, he's already done his schooling for the day, played with everybody on the playground, had something to eat, the whole deal. I'm still like burnt out, but I can't go anywhere because we're both still there. So it got a little tiresome. There were days we'd cut set at 9 o'clock at night, and I remember one night in Astoria, which we filmed a month of it. Well, it was about a month, guys, right? In Oregon, yeah, it was about a month.
Sure.
We were neighbors, girls. If you guys.
Well, they
remember.
rented out like an entire long-term apartment community or something for us.
Cannon Beach Inn.
Right on the beach.
That's the one.
Yes.
Right on the beach, guys.
Damn.
Right on.
Look at Brian with dropping the knowledge.
Yeah. Hey,
This
dude,
is fascinating. I
Cannon Beach
remember
Inn.
nothing.
Hey guys,
This
do
is
you
all
remember
news
the
to me.
graduation?
This is Miko's.
You guys-
This is your life.
you guys remember
Like,
the
if you would just watch
kindergarten
the,
I'm
if you
soaking
would just
it up.
watch the movie after 3 decades, jeez,
I still need to. It's on the list. Maybe I'll do that
Miko, you
tonight.
need to do that.
it's on
Let's
the
do it
list.
together.
Should get on
followed
that.
Do
by
it together.
Mercury
Yeah,
Rising. Did you?
That good?
Did
I don't
you-
know. I haven't seen it either.
I
It
see
was
Adam
so
has,
good in it.
has some pictures there.
I do,
Got
guys. Do you
props, all
remember
right.
the graduation we had?
Yeah.
graduation
Oh my God.
ceremony.
Yeah.
That's our graduating picture.
That's right.
If everybody remember, I have a lot of pictures of
I don't even
all
have
of
one of
us.
those.
To be honest.
That's cool.
You don't?
And then this is the Mr. Kimble, Are You All Right? Picture behind
Oh
the
my
scenes.
gosh. That's
So pretty crazy.
Very cool.
That's
I
cool.
have others, but they're on my phone, and I don't know where they. This one's I have ready to go. But I thought you guys would find that cool because we graduated, even though I had to repeat kindergarten because the state of California was very mad that I wasn't in school enough. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I must have had
I ended up
forgiving.
skipping
I must have
grades
had
later,
forgiving teachers because I was from California. So
Yeah, they were pretty harsh with me.
So once the movie was out in the world, I mean, how often were you recognized, and what did your classmates think when they went and saw the movie and you were in it? Did you ever get were people impressed by it?
What I remember from work as a kid to adult, because I'm still acting today.
Right.
I was a rock star when it aired the night before, and I was that Hollywood kid that nobody liked all other times. Only cool. Hey man, we saw you on blah 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 blah. Oh, cool. Yeah. And then the next day it was like, well, what are you doing now, bleh? And the teachers were super, super mean. Like, oh, you're gonna be gone filming a movie for 3 months? Okay. So that was that was my experience in school, pretty much.
No one wanted to hook up with Arnold. No one said, "Hey, can you get me his sunglasses from Terminator or anything?"
No, I think they just all said, so he was back. Did he come back? Is that it? Main question.
I think right after it was filmed, because I looked the same for another 5 years. Yeah, it was shopping malls, Disneyland, airports, and
Disneyland's the big one.
It got out of control. One time I literally couldn't get into the park at Disneyland. This is back when you used to be able to pull up right just up front, and literally a bus lets out of like junior high kids on some type of field trip, and it took until like noon to get them like autographs. When it's like I didn't even know like how to sign my name at the time. It's like I was just writing.
He arrived
like
at 11:50,
and then they all want something personalized. They're all like, "Can you write to beautiful Elizabeth from Dominic?" I'm like going, beautiful, 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 B-E-A,
beautiful.
Beautiful.
And I'm like,
for 1 second. Sorry, I hear someone knocking at the door. I got to interrupt. I think someone's trying to get in. So let's see if we can welcome someone in.
Are you serious?
No way!
Hello.
what's up, Arnold?
Oh my God!
Arnold!
No
How are you guys
way.
doing?
No, we're in shock. Oh my
Good.
God! How are you
My
feeling?
mind
Hello,
is
Mr.
blown.
Kimball.
Oh my God!
I follow
Wow!
you on TikTok. It's awesome. I love watching
That
your
is
stuff.
the funniest thing to see all of you guys. It's like, well, I was getting a phone. I got a phone call like a few 2-3 hours ago, and they said, we are going to have a chat with 6 of the kids from Kindergarten Cup because it's the 30th anniversary. And I said, that is fantastic. What a great idea. And they said, well, do you want to join in? I said, yeah, of course. I mean, I haven't seen you guys in all this. It's like, wow.
It's been a while.
This is
That's
amazing.
great to see you, man.
Cool.
That is
Wow.
the coolest surprise. I would have never
This is
expected
awesome.
this.
No, me
It's so
neither.
great to see you.
Absolutely.
I want to hear first of all, what are you guys doing now? Crystal, I remember, and Tiffany, I remember. But I don't know what everyone is doing. I know some of you are still involved in show business. Some of them are still involved in acting and in voiceovers and music and all this kind of things. But who is the one that is involved in? I read a bio some thing just not too long ago. But someone is in a furniture business or something like that.
That's
Who
me.
is that?
That's me.
you.
That's one of the things I do.
Christian.
Which, by the way, after 30 years, I want to thank you again for saving my life from Richard Tyson in the locker room there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I'm glad you ended up with my mom for that movie. That was awesome. But
Very nice.
anyway, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure playing Dominic with you. But I'm in furniture. I'm an executive in, and then I do some other fringe elements like I'm co-owner in a CBD business and a few other things. So keep myself busy. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's very good. So tell me about your jacket you're wearing there with the stars.
It's just a T-shirt, but
it's a T-shirt.
It's my homage to Daniel Levy from Schitt's Creek. But,
Got it. Now, so tell me now what each one of you are doing. Let's just go through it. I want to go through the ladies first. I just want to hear quickly what everyone is doing.
Well, we're business owners. So we own a few online businesses. One of them is Wasted Desserts. It's an alcoholic dessertery. Another one is a women's lifestyle magazine. It's called Twinsdish, twinsdish.com. And another is a travel. We have another travel website, and we have a bunch of different websites. We just don't put our name on all of them. Yeah. But we still do some.
So, I mean, you were so cute when we did the movie. And today you're still so cute and so beautiful, and so smart. I mean, this is fantastic.
That means a lot. That means a lot.
Really,
thank you. So, going online, doing one of these things after so many years, you're a little scared. And you too. You're looking good. You too. Yeah. And you took that great. Drop kick. Yeah.
Well, I'm hanging in there. I'm having a good time. I mean, as you know, with the COVID virus. Everything has come kind of like everything has changed in a way, the way we move around, what we do and all this stuff. So I think we just have to stay put and wear the masks when we go out and wash the hands and do all these things, social distancing. Let's go to the next. What about you? What are you doing?
Adam, what are you up to?
Which one? So I'm still acting in all mediums. I'm fortunate enough to act a lot, and I'm also a world champion magician. So there you go.
Let's do that again. See, you got to come over here and show me how to do that.
Anytime. You let me know, and
How did you get that? How did you? Oh, Jesus.
No, still Adam, but thank you so much for thinking so highly of me. I appreciate you.
No, but I mean, let me ask you, how did you get into magic?
Boredom on sets, believe it or not. During lighting and everything, I needed time to kill, and it became my hobby, and I just perfected it.
Very nice. That is a really great talent to have. I
Thank
mean,
you.
I'm
It's
always
awesome. I love
jealous. I'm always jealous of people that are able to do this kind of tricks, because
hey, I'll teach you anything you want.
No, but I mean, it's like amazing the way you do it is when you're really good, you really can't see anything. I mean, it's just there. It's just the magic is just there. And I think it's real fun to do that. Yeah, okay. So when the coronavirus is over, as a matter of fact, I just want to say right off the top, I think it was stupid for us not to do that in the past. But I think we should get together when this coronavirus is over. We should have a reunion. We have it right over here. We have it right over here at my house.
That'd be
okay.
Awesome.
We get together and have a party and really go and get the gossip going, because I want to know all the details of how you got, from 30 years ago. I remember when we came out with the movie in 1990, I think it was December, just before Christmas. And because there was a certain formula from Twins, when Danny and DeVito and I did Twins, we came out in 1988 in December. Ivan Reitman directing it, and it was like a huge hit because it was just before Christmas, and it was the ideal kind of a Christmas story. And so we tried the same thing again 2 years later in 1990, and again it was a huge success and a huge hit. So we were very happy with that. It was like, and for 30 years now, people have been talking about this movie. So that's one of the few movies that is always getting mentioned, is Kindergarten Cop, because it is home entertainment. I mean, it's like the kids love to watch it, grown-ups love to watch it. You can watch it with your grandfather, at home, and with your parents. So everyone enjoys it. I think it's really good. And by the way, I have, because of the success of the movie, I one time sat down with Stan Lee. Do you know who Stan Lee is? He does all the comic
love Stan Lee.
A big comic book, right? He passed away sadly, but before he passed away, just 2 or 3 years before, he talked to me always about, you got to do a sequel to Kindergarten Cop. And I said, well, it's I have no control over that. But the bottom line is that Stan Lee said, well, why would you even wait for the studio? Why don't we do an animated show? And why do we make not the kindergartners superheroes?
Hey, that's a great idea.
That's
he created
really clever.
a story. This is what I want to tell you. He created this story that through some magical thing that when I was a superhero, I had to fight in another superhero, or I say supervillain. And then during our fight, some of our magic power sprinkled down on the kindergarten that was playing outside. And those 6 kids, all got infected by this magic. And then they started becoming superheroes, but they're like 4 or 5 years old. But anyway, so Andy Hayward is producing it, and Stan Lee created it before he passed away, and John Landis is directing it. And so I'm doing the voiceovers for this character, for this superhero Kindergarten Cop. And it's a fun thing. It's going to come out in May, so you will really enjoy that, because
That's awesome.
It was an idea that came
exciting.
from our movie and from our project, so it's really a great thing.
Arnold, I have something to admit to you. I knew about that because I own stock in the company that's putting it out.
She bought it when she heard that was coming out. She said that's going to be a hit.
It's genius, right?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Wow.
It's going to go through the roof. So you invested wisely.
Arnold, I do have to ask about your famous line from the movie. It's not a tumor. What can you tell us about doing that line and what you kids remember about hearing that in person?
Well, I remember that. So here's the thing. There's a lot of times, I don't know, a lot of times, but I mean, there was sometimes when we realized that when I said some certain lines in the class, because of my accent and because the way I say things, the kids were laughing. So I would just, scream loud, it's not a tumor at all, and the kids would be laughing instead of being scared. And so Ivan Reitman ran over to me after and she says, I'm going to print that. I'm going to keep that. This is a winner, because if the kids laugh at the way you sound, then I think the audience will laugh too. And that's exactly what happened. So those lines kind of became kind of classic lines, put the cookie down and all this kind of stuff. It was just crazy. But the funny thing about it is the kid, or what was his name again? That was always stealing everyone's lunch.
Oh, that's
Brian. That's
there.
Brian.
Exactly. Okay, no, it was you. That's right. Yeah, now being grown up. So
We've changed a bit.
Anyway, the funny thing about that was, I think that you are now in the food business of some sort.
That's true. That's true. I mean,
In fact, we're writing a pilot together about the food industry.
Indeed,
no,
we
but
are.
that is hilarious, because here you were playing this character that is stealing everyone, and you played it so well. You just keep munching away, and I kept lifting you up and said, "No, you can't do that," And I threw you down on the ground and all this. I mean, it was like hilarious. And then I read that you actually got involved in the food business, and I said, "That is so funny."
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, it's hilarious. Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I cannot wait for us to get together. And does anyone have any other questions about anything?
I've actually got a real short story that I'd like to tell you, Arnold. When I was 20, I moved to San Luis Obispo to be closer to my girlfriend at the time. And I ended up getting set up with some roommates that I had never met before. Great setup. Fast forward a few months, I come home and one of my roommates is sitting on the couch, and I go, "Hey, did I ever tell you that I was in a movie when I was a kid?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, what movie?" I said, "Kindergarten Cop." And he looks at me deadpan and he says, "Shut up." And I go, "No, I'm serious. I was the little kid that spit up the Cheetos on Arnold." And he goes, "Don't lie to me." And I go, "No, I'm not lying." And he goes, "I was in Kindergarten Cop too." It turns out that he was the kid, along with his brother, Trevor and Travis Reeder, that were kicking the back of your seat in the airplane scene as you were flying to Portland.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing.
When I broke the pencil.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That is crazy.
I feel like you have to say something to Arnold. Don't you have something you have to say? Miko,
go for
That boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
That is
How
still
educational.
That is
3
still
years
the
later.
classic. I mean, that is the classic line, I have to admit.
Yeah, that's the one. If there's any one.
But especially the way you delivered it was not like you had you wanted to kind of say something obnoxious, but it's kind of a revelation. Do you know? It was almost kind of, do you know that? I mean, this is
matter of fact.
The girls and boys. It was like so matter of fact. The whole thing. It was so fantastic. I mean, that's why those lines. I mean, it's like, this movie was, without any doubt, it was the performance of your kids that really made this movie, because that's what made it endearing. That's what made it kind of so successful, and people wanted to watch it over and over again. So I mean, to me, it was like the greatest experience, and it was like also funny because it was a warm up for my kids because I really didn't know anything about how to be a kindergarten teacher, and that was the character that I also played, so it didn't matter. But I mean, the thing is, hanging out with you guys between the breaks and talking to you guys and all that, and this movie really helped me become a better parent myself with my kids. So because after that, I had, my daughter was born in 1990. She was then 1 year old, and then subsequently after that, I had another few kids, and so it really helped me raise my kids.
That's so great. And congratulations on the grandchild.
Yes.
But thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Well, they always say it's the most fun thing to be a grandfather because you have no responsibility. None. I get all the
them
credit.
and hand them back.
As soon as my daughter gave birth to this beautiful baby girl, Lila, as soon as that happened, I got like hundreds of congratulation things and gifts and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, wait a minute, I didn't do anything. I have nothing to do with it. It was like, so this is why it's great to be a grandfather, because you get all the credit and you get so many gifts and so many good wishes and all this stuff, but you have no responsibility.
No, you raised an amazing lady. So
absolutely,
she is. Yeah. No, I'm really proud of my daughters, and Catherine is a winner. And I mean, I never ever thought that my daughter is going to marry an actor. Right? I said to myself, she probably would be sick and tired of me dragging her to the sets always and having them watch me blowing up buildings and killing people and all this stuff. And so, my kids always enjoyed it. And but Kathleen, she was crying always the first few movies. Like when I dragged Maria come out to the set when it was in the middle of shooting Terminator 2. And so she saw me with half of the face was gone and the eye was lighting up and all this kind of weird makeup. So she started screaming and crying on the set because she did not understand why Daddy looked like that. She had no idea about movies and all that stuff. And then later on, also my Christina, when I took her up on a Harrier jet when we did True Lies, she started crying also because, all of a sudden I was shot at and all this kind of stuff. So she was freaking out there too. But anyway, now she married an actor. And Chris is a fantastic guy and so easy to get along with. And so I'm really happy because he has been such a really wonderful, wonderful husband to her and such a great son-in-law.
He's really funny, and he also knows a magic trick. So make sure you ask him to give him a deck of cards. He'll do a magic trick for you.
Okay, we'll do.
Definitely. Yeah, he's great. We follow him on all of our social media, and we follow your daughter too. Yeah, we love the books that she writes as well. Yeah, she's very inspiring.
But she has this from her mother, that Maria was always a great writer, and she always had great ideas. And so I think Katrin has it from her. She definitely doesn't have it from me, even though I wrote a bunch of books. But I mean, that's not my forte. That's only just, to kind of share my experiences with the bodybuilding world of how I trained and all about my life. But I mean, they come up with good ideas, with good concepts, like the one she did about a dog, and I thought it was fantastic. And, she's going to continue writing. And I think she's really eager to get some more books out there.
Yay. We're happy to hear that.
So cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Arnold, I wanted to ask you, do you remember, I don't know if you remember this, but when we filmed the line, the Mr. Kimble, are you all right? And you were carried off on the stretcher. I remember during rehearsal, I hit my knee and it was bleeding. And then Ivan decided to roll the camera right away because I was naturally really crying. And then we filmed that scene and you were so awesome. I showed everybody else, but I still have a picture of kind of that rehearsal moment of everything.
Oh, yeah.
Which was pretty cool. So I just wanted to thank you for being the best scene partner in that moment.
Well, thank you very much. Well, look, I think it would be great if we or somehow through some magic end up in another movie together. Wouldn't that be funny?
That'd be amazing. I'd love it.
Hilarious. Yeah, exactly.
That'd be awesome.
Well, I think Mr. Wilt is away, as you know, and so let's go for it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
The audience wants to see it, believe it or not.
Yeah, they do. There's a big really audience out there for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I totally agree. Well, anyway, it was great to talk to all of you.
Oh my God, it was an honor.
So awesome.
Oh God.
I swear to you that by the time this is over, hopefully this coming summer, so we all get together. I will organize.
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
So that's
awesome.
I hope that happens. I would love that.
I'm proud of all of you. Okay, so keep up the great work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kimble.
Yeah. See you. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I'll be back. Put that cookie down. Put that cookie down.